LFC Women head coach Gareth Taylor ahead of Sunday's WSL match against Leicester City. We're all online today, and we'll start there with, as always, Julia Bold from BBC Radio Merseyside. Julia?
Hi Gareth, you okay?
Hi Julia. Yeah, good, thanks. All good.
Excellent. I just wanted to check, first of all, squad fitness. You've got people back now after the break. How's it all looking?
Yeah, pretty good. I think it feels such a long time since obviously we spoke with this extended international break. I think, certain players like Denise came back after game one of the Irish setup. We had a bit of an issue with her knee. She's coming back into training now with the team over the last couple of days. But we'll wait and leave it in terms of decision to start her or not for the game on Sunday. Mia, obviously the last time we spoke again was stretchered off the pitch, and that one was cause for concern, but she's come through really well and she's trained this week, which has been good. And yeah, pretty much everybody else is okay. Zara Shaw's back training with us. Will not be considered for this weekend because she needs to get more training time under her belt. But yeah, that's been really positive. And again, just nice to have a little bit of a slightly different setup to what you normally get after the international break, where you maybe get 1 day or 2 days with the team. This time we've managed to have 4 or 5 days, and it allows us to prepare as best we possibly can for Sunday.
You mentioned Mia there. I think people feared that injury might be really... Oh, sorry, I think you just froze there. I think we're back again. You mentioned that injury to Mia there, that now it doesn't seem too bad. I think people feared the worst at first. So, she's such an important player. The relief when, you say she's back in training, that it was okay.
Yeah, of course, because when you see a player stretch it off, you fear the worst, and particularly when you know the injury is to the knee. I think it's first thought on everyone's mind is the severity of it. So, yeah, but we got it scanned pretty much straight away, and it was pretty good that she was able, with the force of Brosnan, was able to remove her leg from it quite quickly, even though there was a little bit of a jolt. So we knew within a couple of days, really, that obviously that was going to rule her out of England under 23's exposure, but allowed us to build her up then with that extra week that we had on this break. Instead of a 2 week, it's a 3 week. We've got an extra week then to work with Mia and get her back into the team, and that's a real positive. And of course Anna Josendal as well has been with us in this break, and she's really looking good. So we have some good options at the top end of the pitch now to help us. Where we are a little bit light has been in midfield, because obviously the girls going away with the Asia Cup, Risa and Fuka. And obviously that injury to Denise left us a little bit light in those areas, but we've made a good inroads. We made good kind of reservations for that, and also getting Denise a little bit closer to it is going to be really helpful.
It feels like this one is a big game. I know we've said that quite a few times this season, but just where you and Leicester are placed at the moment in the table. Have you spoken about that around Melwood in the last week? Do you speak about, the importance of this one in particular?
No more than the importance of every game we play. I think every game is so important for us. I think you've seen this season the WSL being really, really competitive. You've seen teams at the bottom taking points from teams at the top. We've done it, and we've also run teams close as well. So it's a really ultra competitive league. That means that every game is so important. So as much as this one is, obviously we understand the importance of the game, doesn't change anything with the remaining 5 that we'll have to have after that, and obviously the FA Cup game as well. So for us, it's attacking each game as it comes, recognising again the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition, trying to impose on that as much as we possibly can. But the signs have been really good this week. Training practice over the last couple of days has been really good. You always are concerned a little bit when players come back off of the international break. But like I say, that little bit more time has allowed us to really get back into sync on how we want to play as a team.
Is that FA Cup run adding to that confidence boost? And I know when we spoke in January after the Christmas break, it felt you felt you'd sort of turned a corner and things were coming right to how you'd wanted, and everyone had put that effort in training for so long that people were seeing the fruits of that. Just wondering if the FA Cup run helps with that as well.
I always feel competitions go hand in hand. You know, you kind of move from one to the other, and we know we're getting to the latter stages now of that competition, and it's a great competition to be in. We've certainly not had to worry about the girls in a sense of them having one eye on that. We've got 3 games to play before that one, 3 really good games for us to be involved in. Our job is just to concentrate on the next game. But yeah, of course, I'm sure at some point that we'll obviously turn our focus to that. Once we have that Everton game out of the way, our focus will be on Charlton, and the opportunity, 3 games to win the FA Cup, I think is a great position to be in, and one that we look forward to. But between now and then, as with the league, there's a lot of work to do.
Thanks, Gareth. Good luck for the weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jules. Let's go to Rachel from Goals on the Ball.
Hi, Gareth.
Hi, Rachel.
Just a word on the opposition. What have you made of them so far? They've, I guess, had a bit of a difficult run in 2026 so far.
Yeah, they have. But I think, you know, when Rick came in and into that role, he made them really difficult to beat. So, you know, they're very organised in the way that they set up. It's very rare that they shift from that style of play and the way that they want to defend and try and look to hurt teams. They made some amendments in the January window, similar to us. At this moment in time, it's not probably transferred to results on the pitch, but, you know, what you can guarantee is a difficult opponent to beat. And I think they try to be aggressive in some moments of the game. But of course, for us, it's always about what spaces the teams are going to leave that play against us, and that can vary from game to game. I don't think there's anything out there that surprises you or doing things differently to what you've seen previously. So I think with that in mind, we just need to make sure that we are really aware of the spaces, how we can manipulate them, how we can create them, how we can use them to hurt the opposition. So I feel obviously this is a good game for us. I think we're in a good team at the moment at St Helens. The form is good, and we want to continue that. We know the supporters will be with us all the way. Don't feel any tension in this game in the build-up to it at all. I think we understand the importance of it, but we also understand the importance of the rest of the games, and we're very much a work in progress that's growing and improving in a short period of time, and we just want to continue in that straight line.
And you touched on the style of play they have there. Do you think that kind of is there kind of irregardless of the personnel involved? Do you think they're quite set in that structure? I think they've been quite unlucky with players coming back injured from the international break. So I just wonder, does that kind of make things a little bit more difficult to predict?
I don't necessarily think it's difficult to predict what they'll do. I think when you come into a club like Rick would have, or he would have had an idea of personnel that he had. I think, and sometimes you have to just try and get them organised, use that to play to their strengths, if you like, before slightly tweaking and trying to evolve that, depending on what they want to do. But I think they'll understand where they're at, probably like we will, in a sense of like, they understand the task that's ahead of them, and what their ambition is will be obviously different to ours, ultimately. But yeah, I do believe like these teams can be really difficult to play against. I think like, you know, you look at their more recent games, they lose by 6 to City, but they hit both posts at 0-0. They also played City before the break, before Christmas, and up until about 65, 70 minutes, they were really difficult to beat and break down, and all of a sudden a mistake, and Bunny Shaw scores. So I think, you know, although the results look that way, they've been in games at certain moments and make it very, very difficult for teams to break them down. I think that's going to be really key.
And just for you, in preparation for this game, you've probably had a bit longer than you normally would preparing for one game, I guess, or for the first game back. How do you manage that, you know, not to overanalyze, I suppose, but then also looking at players coming in from international break, ensuring you're not kind of overloading them with the information they need and kind of making it succinct in terms of preparation?
Yeah, I think that's been the message with the players. We like what we're seeing at the moment. We like the way that they're adapting to the way we want to play. Everything we've practiced this week in preparation for this game is nothing that we've not done before. I think, like I said previously, nothing really totally surprises you in football these days, particularly how teams want to set up. For us, it's just getting that muscle memory back a little bit in terms of how we're going to impose ourselves on the opposition, where the spaces are going to be, and how we're going to try and maximise them.
Great, thanks. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rach. And we'll go to Dan Penton, WSL full-time. Dan?
Hey Gareth, hope you're well.
Hi Dan.
Just some of the stuff you were talking there about, really. Obviously, Leicester, it feels like it'll be a bit of a battle. As you say, it'll be a tough game, tough to break down at the weekend. So, maybe a little bit of a different opponent to some of the others that you face. So, how prepared do you feel the team are in terms of finding solutions? Maybe implement a slightly different style of play to overcome the challenge that's in front of you.
I feel pretty confident that we've exhausted every single way of trying to beat this opposition. I think we've had, like we've mentioned, a little bit more time. We've felt we've trained the right areas. There'll always be a part of it that sometimes you feel that maybe you've not maximised, but I think the things that's really difficult because you have to analyse what's really important. So if we feel it's going to be like the difficulties in breaking down a defensive block, then we need to really, really focus heavily in that area of the pitch. And we've done that, but we also know that at times they try to be aggressive, certainly from opposition goal kicks, certainly from opportunities where they feel that they can jump out of their normal shape and try to be aggressive. And again, going back to that Man City game at 6-0, I saw them still doing that at 6-0 down. So, that dictates that you have to earn the right to play, and you have to be really smart in how you use the ball to hurt the opposition. So for me, it's feeling confident. The players feel confident that we've trained everything we need to train. Now it's transferring it to the game on Sunday.
Just touching on the home form that you mentioned there, I think you're unbeaten at home so far this calendar year. How pleased have you been with that? And I suppose, obviously, you haven't been at St Helens for that long, but does it now start to kind of feel more like home than what it did?
Yeah, I mean, I always felt really comfortable at St Helens, even in the early part of the season. I think it's a really good venue to play at. I understand the logistics for our supporters. It's not in Liverpool, it's in St Helens, but I think, our core supporters enjoy coming to that environment and getting right behind the team, and we certainly feel like it's a home. I think it's a very good pitch, it's a very good stadium. The inside of the stadium is great for us in a sense of the changing rooms and everything else for the girls is top. Just allows us to probably replicate what we have here at Melwood, which is really good facilities, really good platform to play on. Of course, most teams want their home form to be their bedrock of their success, and fortunately recently we've made it really difficult for teams who've come to that environment, and we want that to continue.
That's brilliant. Thanks for that, Gareth. Best of luck for the weekend. Thank you.
Cheers, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. And we'll go to Charlotte Davey from Her Game, Her Way. Charlotte?
Hi Gareth, hope
Hi.
you're well.
Thank you.
So it's been touched on a little bit, but just wanted to ask you, obviously before the break, Liverpool had good momentum, a good run in form, and with the FA Cup run. Obviously different managers have different views on the break. Just sort of wondered, for you, would you say the break maybe came at the wrong time and has disrupted the momentum, or do you think the players needed maybe a period of rest or time to link up internationally with the team?
Yeah, I've always been asked this question and gone into international breaks on poor runs, gone into international breaks on really good runs. I don't think it ever comes at a good time, I'll be honest. I think it's really hard for when these players have to put different hats on. They go away with their countries, they play in different ways to maybe the way we do things. It's always been about how quick that they can reset when they come back here to Melwood and coming back into our way and our way of playing. But I think we've got intelligent players. I really do. I think we've got players who understand that, understand that for their certain nation that they'll play in this certain way. And when they come back to us, they reset really quickly, which I think is important. So, Jen Falk, as an example, will have been asked to play a different way for Sweden than perhaps the way we want her to play here. You've got someone who's got good emotional intelligence and lots of experience, is able to reset really quickly, but I'd probably equally say the same about Jenna Clark, one of our younger players, believe it or not, even though Jenna's been here for a while and has done good things. I think the leadership that she shows and the way she's able to reset quickly, and on top of that, drag others around her to get like really switched on really quickly has been admirable. So yeah, they're a great bunch to work with, these girls, and we want to move this thing on. We want to move from game to game in the best possible way we can. We want to play good football. We want to excite the fans. We want to win. And I think more often than not recently, we've started to win more, and that's a nice feeling, and we want to continue that. I always say the test of a good team is what happens when you suffer a little bit, because that's where you really learn about players, and never had a moment of doubt with these players that their mindset and the way that they're able to kind of reset quickly has been first class.
Yeah, thank you. And just to add to that, kind of over international break, you know, you've seen several of your players doing well, scoring goals. Does that give them a confidence boost when they return to, you know, to Melwood? And do you think it kind of drives them to perform at a better level for Liverpool when they've seen success on the international stage?
Yeah, for sure. But the players, any player who's played international football will tell you that the way that they get into the international setup is playing well for their team, playing well for their club football. But yeah, of course. I mean, Jenna Clark, who we've just been touched on, has probably scored more goals in the international break than she scores in a season. So sometimes you can have runs like that, and I'm sure confidence should be high with her, and so it should be. But she went into that Scotland setup probably on the back of feeling really confident, because the performances for us had been really good. So they go hand in hand, and I think that getting there is the important part. Understanding how you get there is the main thing, is performing well for your clubs. That takes you to the next level.
Yeah, thank you, Gareth. Good luck for the weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte. Don't see any more hands, so I think that concludes us for today. Thank you very much to everyone for coming on, and enjoy your football this weekend, wherever you're enjoying it. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.